Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take last week's shorts, the summer shorts that we created, and we're going to convert them into these beautiful palazzo pants. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. We are all about creating beautiful things.
I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost. We stand on the opposite shore.
So to begin, you are going to lay down some gift wrapping paper or any tissue paper. Sometimes newspapers work too. And you're going to copy your original pattern over. Select the sizing that best fits you, and then we'll modify that. So in order for you to trace that pattern and copy it over, you have to get some weights and put down on that pattern and just lay it flat. Now, I didn't put any weights only because I am working on the floor right now to give you the proper view, and I'm using my body weight onto the paper so I know it's not going to shift. Use your tracing wheels, and for the areas of the seam or the pattern, I would say, that's straight, you're simply going to mark the top, the beginning, and the end of that seam, as you see here. And then for the notches, you have to make sure you mark all of them. For the curvature, you have to follow the entire curvature until you get into a straight line. For the areas that are within the pattern, you can add drill holes, or just with your tracing wheel, you mark the beginning and the end of the straight areas. So almost like marking those corners, I would say. And then I was gonna say a 90-degree angle, but technically that is what you're gonna be doing, but it's not the goal. It's just to mainly mark where to pivot, right? That marking point. You can use drill holes for that. So this is what the perforation looks like with the tracing wheel. You can't see it once I zoom out, but they are definitely there. That's the corner for the pocket. Now that you have the markings, you are ready to trace. Again, it's gonna look like I'm freehanding this, but it's there. You just can't see it because I'm zoomed out so far. Make sure you add your notches back into place. Follow the curvature. If you have your hip curve or your arm seize, I think it's called, ruler, definitely use that to make sure you have a proper curvature. Though I just winged the crotch right there, I marked it fully with the tracing wheel, so you should be able to do that. It wouldn't be a problem. These pants are very forgiving because they are so loose, so no worries. But once you have all of your markings down, you're ready for the next step.
Hello, Ramona. I mistook you for a dream. The engine glows, and I guess you always seem to know. Hello, Ramona. I push back the serious feeling, the end's unknown, to get back the life I used to know.
Now that you have your pattern on paper, you are ready to make some modifications. But before you start, measure your side seam from the third notch that's on the pattern. It should be about an inch above your natural waist. When I measured it for me, an inch above my natural waist to the floor, which is the length that I wanted, I got 38 inches, and that does include seam allowance. So I went ahead and I marked it on the paper using a measuring tape.
We're all in this, I stand alone. Show me where the ending goes. Honestly don't. I should be the last to know. We're all in this, I stand alone. Show me where the ending goes.
So I noticed as I continued making my markings that I missed the side seam for the hem. And That's the reason to why my pattern was plunging. That little marking right there, I missed it. So it started to pivot inwards as I got down to my extended hem. So grab a measuring tape, measure from your natural waist down to the floor. My measurement was 38 inches. And where that notch is actually supposed to be 1 inch above your waist. But from that notch down to the actual hem of the shorts, that was 19.5. So 19.5 and the 38, that would give you 18.5. And I'm like, okay, well, I know that if I'm using the shorts hemline as a reference, no matter what, any spacing in between it should be 18.5. That'll make sure that my balance, my shorts, my pants, oh my gosh, are balanced. So once you plunge that side seam down and extend it, just make a perpendicular line so that you can make your new hem. From there, you're gonna match that hemline to the crotch point and make a line. This is how you're going to make your side seam, and again you're going to plunge it down to your hem, your new hem for your pants. This is your front. Always add your annotations, that way you don't forget, especially if the patterns, they look the same. You're pretty much going to repeat the same thing for the back side. Again, for the curves, you trace all of your curvature lines out to a straight point, and then from there you simply mark the corners of those straight lines like a L shape. Make sure you have all of your notches marked along with your grain line. That way you're able to transfer it onto your next paper. Now that it's complete, we are ready to balance the pattern. Balancing the pattern is a way of ensuring that the horizontal and vertical lines that are marked, balancing helps the garment to hang properly when you wear it. So that's the easiest way to explain it. I matched my side seam starting at the waist, and it matched up right up to the pocket, the bottom of the pocket. So that is your actual hip line. From there, it looks as though my hem, my new hem, the center back was bigger. So that means it would turn and tilt towards the front, and my center front was smaller. So we have to find a center between these two in order for that side seam to hang properly when worn. So this is me just grabbing some tape, and I could not detach it to save my life. But once you have the piece of tape, grab your tracing wheel, and what you're going to do is simply find the center of the of those two pieces. And with your tracing wheel, just trace it, marking your hem, and then from there you could just trace the center up until the matching point, which for this pattern it would be the bottom of the pocket. From here, we're gonna bring it back down to the table, or if you're like me, you use a floor. Only because I cannot record on my table since it's so high, then I can't access the camera. But anyway, bring it back over to your table and you're gonna mark those new lines that we just made. You're gonna mark them down with a pen or pencil. When you do that, make sure you X out the lines that are no longer correct, because when it's time to trace your pattern or cut out your pattern, you don't want to accidentally cut off the wrong line. Okay, that has happened to me before because I did not X out the one that was no longer needed. So make sure to do that. Don't be like me, be better. But make sure you do that for the front and the back. As you can see here, this pattern still doesn't have annotations. That's another important detail. Make sure you have your annotations and your grain line. And once you're done, you are ready to start cutting out your pattern and start sewing. This is the final result for the pants. I like it. It kind of gives me like a old vintage vibe. Like back in the day, especially with the waistline, the paper bag waistline type deal. Love it. Subscribe, like, share, comment down below. Check out the Etsy shop for the sewing patterns. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I will see you next time.